Well, in a surprising move, Disney has kind of bought another company yet again, this time on the streaming side of things, as Disney inks a deal to merge Hulu Live TV with Fubo, ending the lawsuit seeking to block VENU sports streaming. So we have an article here from Variety that we're going to read through and get some thoughts on the subject here. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. Again, this is from Variety. It says Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery will pay Fubo $222 million to settle antitrust suit. Disney announced a deal with paid TV streaming provider Fubo to combine Hulu plus Live TV with Fubo's operations in a joint venture. Under the deal, Fubo will drop its antitrust lawsuit seeking to derail VENU Sports, the sports-focused streaming package from Disney, Fox Corp, and Warner Brothers Discovery. The Hulu subscription on-demand service is not part of the Fubo deal and will remain separate. Fubo and Hulu plus Live TV will have a combined 6.2 million North American subscribers, behind Google's YouTube TV, which nearly a year ago reported having more than 8 million customers. Disney will own 70% of the pay TV joint venture, and Fubo will hold the remaining 30%. The combined business will operate under the Fubo publicly traded company name. The Hulu plus Live TV and Fubo brands will remain separately sold and marketed. The company said that Fubo joint venture will negotiate carriage agreements with content providers for both Hulu plus Live TV and Fubo services independently from Disney. Also under the deal, Fubo will create new sports and broadcasting service featuring Disney's sports and broadcast networks. Disney is entering into a new carriage agreement with Fubo for the new tier that will feature networks including ABC, ESPN, basically all of the Disney networks there. In connection with the deal, Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery will make a cash payment to Fubo of $220 million. In addition, Disney has committed to provide a $145 million term loan to Fubo in 2026 as part of the transaction. Furthermore, a deal breakup fee of $130 million will be payable to Fubo under certain circumstances, including if the transaction fails to close due to failure to obtain requisite regulatory approvals on the terms and conditions on the agreement. Disney and Fubo expect the deal to close within 12 to 18 months. As the end of September 2024, Hulu plus Live TV had 4.6 million subscribers, and for the third quarter of 2024, Fubo reported an average of 1.45 million subs in North America. It is the definition of a joint venture, which, if you're unaware, is basically two companies going together for a specific business, thing. Like you could have McDonald's and Nike co-venture into something. That wouldn't mean that Nike owns McDonald's or vice versa. It just means they're going together for a specific thing in a market. That's what this kind of breaks down into as well. So this all stems from in February 2024, Fubo filed a federal antitrust lawsuit against Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery, seeking to block the launch of VENU, alleging that the companies, together with Disney's ESPN and Hulu, have engaged in a years-long campaign to block Fubo's innovative sports-first streaming business, resulting in significant harm to both Fubo and consumers. Last summer, Fubo won a preliminary injunction halting the three companies' launch of VENU. I mean, obviously, it's sort of the Bob Iger Disney mentality of just buy your way into the things you want to do here. So that's kind of following that footprint here. So Iger, it follows his MO. That's one thing he has done very well, I will say, is buy things that assets. Now, in terms of if they are worth the money, I mean, $220 million at the end of the day, probably between the three companies here, the companies that size, is not a huge amount of money. I think when you talk about buying like Fox, paying $70+ billion for that, buying, the other things, those you can bring a lot of questions into whether or not it's worth it. More than likely, I mean, I think it's clear that Disney sees streaming, and especially sports streaming, as perhaps the future of trying to keep their legacy TV side of things, at least what they've known that as a asset with the company, because legacy TV like ABC and those, it's a dwindling asset as those get smaller every year as everything goes towards streaming. Obviously, Disney has gone very heavy with Disney Plus streaming, but still to this day, I think they're somewhere around $13 billion in the hole on that as a whole since they started investing into that. But sports streaming is a very profitable thing, and I think obviously you see Disney, Warner Brothers, and Fox want to be a part of this because they understand the profitability of sports, and Fubo was standing in the way of that. So I think they figured it's much cheaper to pay them off to give them a piece of the pie here than to fight them in court and perhaps lose and have to start from scratch. So I think that's exactly what this is here. But I'm not surprised by this. And I think what's going to end up happening, and I've said this all along about streaming, is you're just going to start seeing mergers and mergers because I think that's just where it's going to go. If you look at Netflix, it is the most profitable streamer. But a lot of these, look at Paramount, it's being bought by Skydance. You know, you're just going to see a lot of these merge until, because it's become much like cable. Like streaming became a thing because you're like Netflix, maybe one other thing, because you could go to one place, view all the things you wanted to when you wanted to. And then everybody saw Netflix and decided, hey, we want to do our own Netflix. And all the studios started their own streaming services. And now there's so many out there. The choices are too broad. A lot of people are just, they don't even know where to turn, and they're kind of just burnt out on it. So I think to stay profitable, to make money, you're just going to see a lot of mergers happen. I think Disney, even though it hasn't really been profitable, I think they will be one of the ones that stands because they are huge and they are big, and they've integrated Hulu with this, as they're still finalizing the purchase of Hulu, because that was part of the deal with Fox, as they owned 2/3 of Hulu and Universal Comcast owned 1/3 of it. So they're still negotiating on the final price for that final third of Hulu, but they're adding Hulu into Disney Plus. They're also adding ESPN. They're also adding aspects of ABC. So I think what you're going to see is Disney Plus be kind of become the central hub of all of Disney's programming as the linear TV side continues to fade. And then obviously trying to get them more into the sports, as they have ESPN, and obviously working here with Warner Brothers and Fox and now Fubo. I think this is probably the way forward for Disney. It's probably not a bad business move in terms of there is a lot of profit in sports, and I think that's probably what they're chasing and going for there. So I'm unclear if in this article if it's still going to be called VENU Sports in this. It may be called something different, but either way, it looks like the sports streaming conglomerate between Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers, now including Fubo, is going forward. And Bob Iger has another ring, I suppose, of something he's bought or some level. I guess it's not just Bob Iger. Obviously, Hulu TV is a big part of this, but I imagine, obviously Fox and Warner Brothers had a vested interest also in this deal going through here. So it seems like that is what they've done here. Kind of got rid of the competition by buying them, which is basically what a lot of places do now, is if you have competition instead of competing, you just buy them. I don't know if I like it. I like competition, but kind of the way it is right now. And I think the streaming battles are going to continue to heat up. But like I said, I think you're going to end up with maybe a handful at the end of the day that end up being the ones that are able to maintain profitability, but also, combining with things, getting catalogs from other studios to be able to offer, to compete with Netflix. If you look at streaming, really YouTube is number one, but it's different. It's not really a paid streaming service. But if you look at the paid streaming services, Netflix is number one. It's not even really close. And everybody else is just trying to pick up the pieces after them. And really the best way forward with that is just to join forces and try and take them on that way. But either way, Hulu Live TV is now with Fubo, ending the lawsuit. So it looks like VENU Sports is going forward. And looks like you have more options to view sports in the near future. But either way, that's going to be it, though, for this video. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of theme parks and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about this and the whole streaming landscape? And until next time, we will see you later.